Hello, I'm Sylvia Gonzalez-Pizania, Manager of Collections and Interpretation at Villa Finale Museum of Gardens. And we are here at Villa Finale because we're going to talk about some of the music machines. Now, before we begin, I'd like to say, I'm wearing a mask right now. We have had spikes in San Antonio and in Texas in general, and both Farah, my colleague Farah Varga, and I are in the house. So in order to stay safe, we're staying social distancing and wearing our masks here today. So we're going to begin our little musical tour here with this machine. This is the Deluxe model Violin Virtuoso, and the actual component of it was invented by a man named Henry Sandell in 1905, and he invented what's called the automatic virtuoso, and I'll open this up for you so you can see, which was just the automatic violin playing mechanism. So he sold his patent to the Mills Novelty Company of Chicago, and they started making these machines with a full piano board in the back and one automatic music machine, violin playing machine. Then they added a second violin, and it became the Deluxe model Violin Virtuoso machine, which you see today. This machine is circa 1912, and yes, it still works. Now, what's great about this exact machine is it was located in the Buckhorn Saloon here in town before Prohibition. Now, when Prohibition was passed, then the machine and all the alcohol, the liquor was moved out of the saloons. And the Otto Kaler family of the Pearl Brewing Company took the machine home, and they kept it there for many years until they heard Walter Mathis had purchased this house. And one of them called him up and said, "We have this old music box, do you want it?" And of course, if you've been to Villa Finale, you know we have over 12,000 items here. So of course Walter Mathis wanted it, and he said, "Absolutely." And so he brought it here. He probably didn't expect it to be this big, but here it is. Now, we still play this machine during our special music tours called Music for Your Eyes tours, and we're going to demonstrate it for you here. Now, mind you, we have had some work done on this machine. For example, the violin strings years ago were replaced with guitar strings for durability. That's something that we would like to change back because it doesn't sound quite as nice as it should. The second violin machine needs to be repaired, and we hope to do that someday too. This does run on electricity and on rolls. You can see the rolls down here. So the idea was, if you are a bar owner, saloon owner, rather than pay an entire orchestra of musicians to play at your establishment, you could buy one of these. You could customize the cabinet, and then you can have your patrons put coins in, like this is like the great-grandfather of the jukebox, and this is where the coin slot used to be, and voila, you had entertainment for your customers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a little bit of this machine for you. Right now, there is a roll of ragtime music in there, and ragtime was like the rock and roll of its era. It was popular from about the 1890s to about 1915, 1919. And if you know, some of the most famous ragtime players were Jelly Roll Morton, Scott Joplin. So hopefully you will enjoy it. Again, I'd like to repeat, these are guitar strings and not violin strings. Now we are in the Napoleon Parlors, so I can show you this wonderful machine. It's a circa 1921 Bechstein-Welty reproducing piano. And reproducing pianos are like player pianos, except that player pianos, you have to work the pedals in order to make the rolls work. This runs on a pneumatic system, which is electric. So what Walter Mathis did, the piano would look a little prettier here, is he ran the mechanism, all the wires underneath the floorboards, and the bellows that runs the machines is underneath the kitchen floor. So the Welty company, what they did, they kept kind of their recording method a secret. They would have a pianist come in to their studio and they would play a tune, and underneath this piano that they used, special piano, there was a trough, and in the trough there was mercury, and at the end of the trough was a machine. So as the musician played the piano, there would be a little metal rod on the bottom of the keys that would strike into the trough that had the mercury and create a current that would be recorded in this machine where there was a roll, and the pens would mark the keystrokes. So after that performance was over, they would take that roll, which was the master roll, take it to somebody else who would then hand punch the rolls. And then they would mass produce them. So here we are with one of the rolls that we have at Violin. We have several. This is Pavan's Opus 50 by Gabriel Fauré. And the wonderful thing about these is that sometimes you have these musicians like Fauré who went in to record into the studio to record their music, and you can see the little punches there, and that is the recording of the music. So when you play and you watch the keystrokes, it's this musician who actually recorded the roll playing. So that's wonderful. Now here at Violin, being a staff member, it's kind of fun because sometimes you get in here and you have to play the machines in order to keep them in playing condition. So we're going to demonstrate this machine for you. Here is the actual innards of the piano, and here's the roll. And we're going to go ahead and set this up for you. So you can see it working. All right, so enjoy. Now we're upstairs in the green bedroom to talk about one of the music boxes upstairs. This is a Victorian music box that plays American songs, and music boxes are a 19th century invention that came out of an 18th century invention, which was carillons and musique, which were basically musical snuff boxes. But this is a great music box. Not everybody could afford a music box back in the day because they were expensive, and the first people that worked on music boxes were jewelers because the parts are so tiny. Now what's great about these is it plays different songs, and I mean these are pretty fascinating because the pegs indicate which song is being played, and the cylinder kind of moves up and down ever so slightly to play the different songs. So I'm going to go ahead and wind this up. And please note the beautiful and rich sound that comes off of this machine. to demonstrate for you my favorite music machine in the house, and that is another music box. It's a Swiss music box. It's also Victorian. It's made out of rosewood. Now, this one plays Scottish songs, and you can see up here it says it has Chinese bells and that these little guys down here, and they're animated, which is fantastic. Now, during our normal music tour, we normally play the song Annie Laurie, and I tell you a little background about that. But for today's demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and play the box for you, and let's see what it plays, because I'm not even sure.
It's a real surprise today.
It is. Oh, there he goes. Gotta get that guy going. There you go. So now we are in the green sitting room. If you hear the bells in the background, we left that other machine going because they need to be unwound. But we wanted to show you this 1901 Grand Opera Zonaphone. And this is quite a high-end machine. It's very fancy looking. So the idea was, if you were a person who had money, you would be able to buy this machine and display it in one of your front parlors so people could see, ooh, wow, these people must have a lot of money. Look at this fancy machine. Now, normally, again, on the regular music tour, we go into the background of the invention of the machine and a patent dispute that was with these disc records. But today, I'm just going to demonstrate the machine for you. We are going to play I Loved You Then as I Love You Now. And the song was featured in a 1928 movie starring Joan Crawford. It was called Our Dancing Daughters. So I'm going to go ahead and wind this guy up. Even when we wind these up today, it still makes me nervous because you can't overwind them or you will cause damage to the machine.
Or it will pop back and bite you on the thumb, because that happened to me.
That happened to you, that's right.
I'll never forget it.
Oh, there we go. Let's get this guy going. Let's hear this wonderful song.
I think I can hear Auld Lang Syne in the background.
Make you swoon, ladies. Make you swoon. Now we are just outside of Walter Mathis's sitting room upstairs to show you this wonderful Edison Wax Cylinder phonograph. And really, even though Mathis had a lot of cylinder records, there's only two that are really playable because this is a 2-minute machine. And I won't get into the complications of it. But here is a cylinder record, and you could see the little grooves on there. They weren't able to be mass produced until about, I believe, 1912, if I remember correctly. So until then, they were pretty expensive. And Edison actually had these sounding a lot better than even the disc records. But if you remember the battle between VHS and Beta was a superior one, but VHS won out, That's kind of what happened with cylinder records and disc records. Now, I went way back, I know. Now, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate this for you. This is Marty Maloney's wake that we're going to demonstrate. And I'll go ahead and wind this up. I started to wind it up to see what cylinder we had on there. Again, with these wind-up machines, you kind of have to have a good touch. Just a little brief demonstration of most of our music machines here in the house. We hope you enjoyed it, and once all this craziness is over, we're going to reopen and get the music tours started again so you can get the entire story and see these wonderful machines in person. Until next time.